Welcome back to the Starting Strength Podcast. I, of course, am your host, Mark Ripito. With me today is our guest, Mick
Solomons.
Solomons, plural.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to talk about that. Last time we had Mick on, we were talking about our app. Mick is our app developer. And Mick is from Australia. And so what I thought we'd do today is just ask Mick a series of questions about Australia. Okay, so your last name is Solomons, right?
Yep.
So when did you get the S on the end of your name? So is that when, like, your father had, like, 2 children, it became Solomons instead of Solomon? Does that happen?
Well, to be
or
honest,
was it a generation prior to that?
no, I think they actually.
What's the naming convention in Australia? Is it like Iceland, where there's, you know?
No, it's pretty much the same as here, I think. So the story behind Solomons was that my great-grandfather came to Australia from South Africa via probably Israel and Russia.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe his first name was Solomon, and then he ended up using that as his surname and just threw an S on the end for fun.
So he was, at that point, Solomons.
I don't know what his surname was. No one seems to know anymore, so.
Well, I wonder if they keep track of that in Australia.
Yeah, I think we've gone back about as far as we can.
Well, I thought what we'd do today is ask you an offensive series of questions about Australia.
And about
All right.
what I think of Texas.
So, well, you know, if you can get your dig in, you know, take the shot. That's all I can tell you. So what I'd like to know first is, how much of Australia actually has a sewer system? For instance, is public health available in Australia?
Surprisingly,
Is it a third world country in that respect?
well, I think our healthcare system is actually better than the one here. So.
Oh, pshaw.
I know it's hard to believe.
Pshaw. I don't believe that at all.
So you know, if we break our arms skiing or doing something stupid, we just go to the hospital and they fix it up, send you home.
They
There's
just
no
send
bill.
you home
There's
first?
Yeah, no, there's no bill at the end of it.
Really?
Yeah,
It just comes out of taxes.
that's right.
So there is a bill.
Not indirectly.
Indirect, right. That makes it better. Yeah, I understand now.
I don't have to pay right now.
You don't have to pay right now.
So it's all good.
You just paid on April 15th,
Yeah,
or whatever the
yeah.
hell your equivalent in the southern hemisphere is of April the 15th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, let's see. That was my public health question. What about, why do you guys not fall off down there?
We're actually on top.
Does everybody walk around?
Now we had this
You're on
conversation
top.
before about how the water flows differently.
That is
in
a
other
good.
directions.
That is a very good
In the
point.
12.
We were talking about the Coriolis effect,
Coriolis.
and I thought that, especially now, I know with respect to toilets, okay, the flow in a toilet when it's flushing. You never thought you'd be listening to something about this on this podcast. The flow in a toilet that spins the way the toilet manufacturer designs it to spin, because the water shoots down and it makes a little circle, right? But in a true Coriolis effect test, and we talked about actually doing this here, and I guess what we'd have to do is do a similar test in Australia, is running a whole sink full of water in our little closet over here. We got a sink, utility sink. So you run a big sink full of water, and you put a stopper, you know, obviously, you put a stopper in it. And then you tie a string to the stopper. And then you pull the string straight up and hang it from the faucet. You run a sink full of water, and then you just walk off and go completely away. And then all of the little eddies and currents in the sink full of water get real still. And then you pull the plug, and you see what direction the spin is as it drains, and that perhaps is the Coriolis effect. And our question was, does that really
Go the opposite way.
go the opposite way in the southern hemisphere? I don't know. I've never been in the southern hemisphere.
We talked about
I
it.
don't like to go to South Texas. I haven't been in Australia.
In Mexico?
No, I've not been to, I'm not going to Mexico,
Oh, what's wrong with
because there's Mexicans in Mexico. You can edit that out if you want. Or you can leave it in, I don't
I've got quite
The
a-
problem with Mexico is not Mexicans, the problem with Mexico is the Mexican government. And I'm not going down there, the federales jack you up and, you know, put you in jail until you give them $853 American, and then they'll let you, I don't,
That's all right.
I'm not interested.
Really?
I'm not interested.
Do you think they'd
What-
go after you?
Huh?
Do you think that, you know, someone would go
After me?
Yeah, wouldn't
After
they go
listening to this, they will. Obviously. Now, when I go on vacation, I tend to go where it's cool. Living in Wichita Falls,
Yeah.
you're here in March. Those of you that are watching this on delayed, we're here at the end of March. It's pleasant. 71 degrees today, very cool.
Cool.
But here in August,
Mhm.
it is 110 degrees. And it's, I'm sure the Northern Territory get hot like that.
Mhm.
What's the temperature in Darwin in January?
It's 35 Celsius and 100% humidity.
See, ours is worse than that. It's been up to 42 Celsius here.
It's weird. It gets like that in Melbourne down south. Like
Yeah.
the very southern
Oh,
city,
it does.
Melbourne and Adelaide, their summer's just horrible. They're like 45 and dry during the summer. It's just horrible. It's like
Really?
30,
You'd think it'd be
35.
worse further
Yeah,
north.
I know, it's kind of weird.
What about Tasmania?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like
You,
Mexico.
you don't know because you don't know, or you've never been
No, I've
there?
never
or-
been there. I assume it's cooler down there.
It's kind of a pretty place, isn't it?
Yeah, it
Isn't
is,
that
yeah.
what they say?
They say that.
How far is it from Tasmania to Antarctica?
It's got to be a couple thousand k's, I think.
Good God.
I think that the closest country to Antarctica is at the very tip of Argentina. That's where usually people.
Well,
take
yeah,
pictures.
because there's a big spine of Antarctica
Mm.
that comes up, and that's all one big geologic feature.
Mm.
The Southern Ocean, as they now formally call it, the Southern Ocean, is very narrow there at the end of Argentina to that part of Antarctica. But you guys have got quite a ways,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So Tasmania's pretty famous because it's the one place in Australia where they killed off most of the nature. There used to be a tiger that was native to Tasmania. Killed all of them.
Well, they're marsupials.
What's that?
They're all marsupials.
The animals in
Let
Tasmania.
me tell you what Tasmania is famous for.
Mhm.
Is for
Tasmanian
the
tiger.
devil.
Yeah, the Tasmanian devil.
Tasmania on the cartoons.
Mhm.
That's the first time anybody anywhere else but Australia ever heard the word
Yeah,
Tasmania.
yeah. We always
You
thought it
know?
was pretty funny. It's just,
I thought it was true.
no, there is a Tasmanian devil.
I know there's a Tasmanian.
It just
He's
doesn't,
a-
you know,
he doesn't give the little whirl or
Nah.
anything. He's that crazy.
They're pretty.
But they'll bite you, won't they?
Yeah, if you can't mess with it, they will.
Really, slap them around a little bit,
Yeah,
they'll
you know.
bite you.
Yeah, it's a bit of fun.
Why'd they call him a devil then? Why is he a Tasmanian devil?
I don't know idea. We need like a computer here. We can look at Wikipedia, all these questions. You know, which way the water flows in the toilet. Why is the devil called the devil?
Look at Vicky. I started to do the Coriolis effect, and I got sidetracked on
We talked about it for
email.
45
We
minutes.
talked about it for 45 minutes, and I said,
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia. Like,
We
go
can
into
see
the
this in
computer, and I just got sidetracked on porn or something. Can't remember
Yeah,
what
the
I was
door, the door closed on your office for a while. Eh?
That was important.
Yeah.
That was some important shit I was doing.
Yeah.
At any rate, so how long does it take if I wanted to drive from Melbourne to Perth? How long would that take?
Probably 3 to 4 days.
3 to 4 days.
Yeah.
Is there a good highway or is it
Yeah,
dirt,
there is. It's
dirt roads?
It's
or
called
what?
it's called the Nullarbor Plain, and it's basically just a big long road for about I don't know a couple hundred k's,
They have toilets and water and stuff out there in the middle of the.
and you don't stop.
Don't stop.
Yeah, I mean,
Don't stop because it's boring, or don't
Well,
stop because it's.
There's
you die.
there's kind of a wives' tale about Australia. If you hit an Indigenous person on the road, and sometimes they'll just jump out in front of you. This is the story.
Right.
You don't stop the car. You just keep going. Because if you stop the car, then apparently the story is the rest of them will come out and try and pull you out of the car.
And jack you.
Well, I don't know. This is the story that you kind of it's kind of common law in Australia.
So it's what we call apocryphal. It's probably.
I was going to say that.
Probably bullshit. Okay.
Probably bullshit.
Probably bullshit.
Probably bullshit.
I think it probably is.
I would say so too.
I mean, why would they sacrifice one of their own just to get your 1987 Buick?
Maybe
You know, what do they want an 87 Buick? You know, what the hell would be the point in that? But look, hey, we've all seen, what was the latest movie, the Mad Max
Fury Road.
Fury Road.
That's
We
what-
all know what
That's
Australia
what it
looks like.
Yeah.
It's just a red desert. It's like Mars.
Full of old beat up 70s cars.
Why don't
And
they?
deformed-
No, that's Cuba. No, that's 50s.
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 We're 20 years ahead of Cuba.
And seriously deformed people.
Yeah.
Is Tina Turner in the new one? She wasn't in the
No,
old one.
No.
She's about 120
She's
years
been
old.
dead
isn't she?
for 50 years.
Really?
Tina's passed away a long
Did she?
time ago. No.
She's still kicking around, I think.
She's 80.
Is Ike still getting
She's still.
around?
Ike's gone.
Ike's gone.
Ike passed on.
Yeah.
Ike passed on.
He was.
I don't know how Ike's associated with Australia, but he's passed on.
Did one of the women finally just decide to hit back and that was it? Or?
I guess that's what happened.
Okay.
Or Ike was despondent and
Mhm.
just left.
Yeah. He just gave
Good-
up. His
good.
fists were just done.
Couldn't
close his fists
beaten to a
anymore.
bloody pulp. Looked like George Foreman hitting walls this way.
He did all just nubs. There was just nothing left.
Smashed into jelly. Oh, God. All right, so
You need
the
to
Mad Max movie.
You need to ask some offensive questions about Texas.
Well,
Or try.
I'm not through with my offensive
okay.
questions about Australia. I want to know about your bizarre accent. Where did that come from? You notice a kinship between South Africa,
Uh-huh.
between you guys,
Yeah.
and between the New Zealanders,
Uh-huh.
which I can tell, believe it or not, I can actually tell an Australian accent from a New Zealand accent when I hear it spoken.
It's
I can-
assuming you can actually understand what they're saying in the first place.
yeah, well, I'm pretty good with accents. I can understand the Irish. So what I'm interested in is where'd the kinship come from the Southern Hemisphere Anglophones, Anglophiles, Anglophones,
Anglophones, yeah.
Anglophones. The Southern Hemispheric Anglophones all have a similar accent. How did that arise?
I have no idea.
You're an interesting interview.
I wish you'd have given me some
very
research
interesting. If I
into
had
it.
given you advance notice, it wouldn't be near as interesting as you're saying. I have no idea why I speak like that.
I assume it was just the ships, the way the ships came. They came from Europe down to South Africa, back onto
So
Australia.
that makes pretty good sense.
So, it's just,
You guys were all prisoners at one time, weren't you?
not my family.
Prisoners or bureaucrats, one of the two.
I think my family was probably rag traders.
Rag traders, rags being in short
clothes.
supply in
Yeah,
Australia.
clothes manufacturers. I call them
Right.
rag traders.
Rag traders.
Yeah.
Oh God, why would anybody watch this idiotic podcast? I don't know what
This
the
is
hell.
going to be the most heavily watched podcast.
Yeah, no, you know it will. You know it will be. All right, so let me have your Texas bullshit here.
Well, no, I mean,
Come at me. Ask me about the gun thing. All right. Mick's fascinated, but Mick walked in the gym yesterday. I was still heavily sedated from my oral surgery yesterday, and he walks in, and being from Australia, a disarmed population, he walks in, and immediately the talk turns to guns. And Nick informs him that everybody in the room, except him, has a pistol.
literally
Like
right there.
within, right there, or, close enough to grab, and, because it's just the way it is here. And Mick is understandably confused that no one killed him.
I became a little more polite.
But we
after.
just don't kill you. Just because you're from Australia, we're not going to kill you for that. But this is a different kind of a culture. The British, they don't even allow you to bring butter knives home from the store in Great Britain because they might be sharpened at some point, and then someone who obeys the law might have a weapon.
I think the
Of course,
police don't-
ignoring the fact that everybody that doesn't obey the law already has one anyway. Right?
I think the police don't even carry their.
Well, they never have carried
Yeah.
because it's so peaceful in Britain.
Yeah.
Right.
That's because no one's got guns.
No one's got guns, and therefore it's peaceful. And I pointed out to him
And the pubs closed early. That helps.
that the highest rate of firearm possession in the United States, and this is I believe current data, is Plano, Texas. Very high concentration of firearms, highest concentration of firearm ownership in the United States, and it is also the lowest homicide rate in the United States.
Is there only 50 people in this town or something?
No, God, man, it's a fast growing suburb of North Dallas. Plano, Frisco, Allen, some of the fastest growing communities in the United States.
How about Waco? How's it going? over
Waco's,
I saw that sign when I was
Waco
driving
is down in central Texas. That's a malarial swamp down there.
Okay.
It's
Are
awful.
people using guns to kind of shoot the mosquitoes off? Is that why there's a bit of a problem there? Or?
See? See what I mean? Such prejudice.
I saw the
I
sign.
have been perfectly reasonable this whole podcast. I haven't made any assumptions about Australia that weren't absolutely warranted. And Mick is telling us all these tired old cliches about Waco and everybody. Now, they did have a big shootout down there.
Yeah,
The
they did.
cops murdered, apparently, or whatever they did with a bunch of bikers. That's been, what, was that 6 months ago, Nick? You
Yeah.
remember that deal?
Oh, was there something else?
I don't know what the hell.
He's talking about,
All right,
he's talking
there's-
about David
I'm talking about,
Koresh.
David, that guy.
Oh, that's the Clinton administration. That's, Janet Reno's deal. That's, that wasn't Texas's problem. That was Janet Reno's problem. But I know, and you probably still watch reruns of Dallas, don't you? That's where you get your information about
That's before my
JR.
time, I think.
Who shot JR? All that shit, right? That still plays in Europe, probably still
In Australia,
on
too.
TV in Australia.
First
So
one.
that would have formed a mixed opinion about
In black
Texas.
and white. In black-
Not everybody has a Cadillac with long horns on the front of the hood.
So this, I was actually expecting, because you said to me, oh, I'll come pick you up in my car, and I was expecting this, F-350 with the bullhorns, Confederate flag on the roof, gun rack on the back. I come here and you've got a BMW. Like, what's going on with that? You've got two BMWs.
Two
That's
BMWs.
just, I don't understand how
I
that
like the
fits in.
Germans.
You like the Germans?
Yeah.
They make a good car.
They make a damn good car.
They do.
They make a
Except
good
for
car.
those Audis.
Audi? What's wrong with an Audi?
Oh, they had that whole thing about how they like to
They
sit
just
there.
start by themselves and run people over the street. No driver. They just run through crowds of people.
Now they got a gun holder in the center console. And,
Oh yeah, that's
no, there was a whole emissions thing, where they were
Hey.
covering up the emissions.
That was Volkswagen.
that's
Oh, that's
Volkswagen.
Volkswagen.
Volkswagen,
Volkswagen.
German.
I
It's
thought-
understandable to an Australian to conflate.
All
the
these
two.
Germans look the same to me.
They all do.
Yeah.
They
I've
all
got a
do.
lawsuit coming. You better edit that out, Nick. It's like,
Who, you think the German government is going to
Yeah.
sue you over a comment
Well,
like that?
this video is going to get millions of views, so
You know it will.
yeah, it will.
You know it will.
Zero basically.
So why? I was going to touch on this earlier. Australia's just red, right? Big, huge amounts of it are
Yeah, 90% of it's
that Pennsylvanian desert-looking topography. It's red. Why don't they make Mars movies in Australia instead of going to that place in Jordan? The Martian was filmed in that wadi, whatever they had up in Jordan there, kind of red and stuff. They lens it, they put red filters on everything.
It's probably
The
so much-
Martian, all those Mars movies are all filmed
It's
in about.
closer.
It's
Australia's
closer.
too far away.
Australia's too far away.
Yeah, I mean, you got to go to Australia, then you got to take another 6-hour flight to get to the red area. There's no cities nearby either. It's just, it's probably not.
It's probably not
There's nothing
convenient to
out there.
cater out there.
Nah, there's nothing
Right.
out there unless you want to go
It
and
would
catch
probably
some
look
kangaroos.
more like Mars though. I mean, they got to Photoshop the craters in anyway.
Yeah, all that visual.
Did you see The Martian?
No.
You didn't?
I read about 80% of the book and I didn't finish it.
Was it boring?
Yeah, that was boring. I mean, it just goes into a lot of details about all this technical stuff.
It's
and
geek
numbers.
science stuff. It's a
Yeah.
great movie.
Oh, I'm sure it's a great movie.
It's a great movie. It's I kind of like it because it makes me, the former little science geek kid, think that maybe we can do something here.
Well, Elon Musk,
Maybe we
Elon
can.
Musk wants to go to Mars.
Elon Musk is going to get to Mars
I
before
think-
NASA
Yeah.
is going to get to Mars. Did you see that there's a thread on the forum right now about how finally NASA has figured out the answer to exercise in space? Did you see that?
I saw that.
They've reinvented the isokinetic machine. That's been around for 40 years. The same machine that they had hanging on the wall of the Midwestern University weight room when I started doing this shit in 1977. NASA has reinvented the same thing.
How much did it cost them to make? It was like
Several hundred
$100,000.
million
It was
dollars.
$100 million.
Oh, billion, hundred. They don't do
It was just
anything. that
basically a
doesn't-
plate on the floor with a retractable cable. That was it. And the guy was doing curls with it.
Yeah, it's something like that. There's a little pulley inside
They
of
sell
it
those
that
on
provides
TV for
resistance.
$24.99 and a free set of steak knives.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't say
It's got a
NASA.
30-day guarantee.
It
as
doesn't
well.
have a number.
You can attach that one to your door as well.
Space resistance training device M3,
Yeah.
something like that.
By NASA.
That's worth a bunch of money. That's worth a bunch of money. I have solved the problem long years ago for doing this type of work in a zero-G environment. The problem is that I am not a NASA scientist, and the problem is that there's no $180 billion contract to award for the development of this thing. All it is a plate that you stand on and two adjustable pieces of cable that come up out of the plate that hook onto a bar that you can set at different positions, and you do isometric work in various positions. You can use it for the squat, the deadlift, the pull, any of the pulls, the presses, overhead, and you just push on it. You just hold the contraction for several seconds and do it at various positions several times a day. Folds up into a small package. Probably, even if you make it out of titanium or other lightweight, expensive, and since it's NASA, you guys could plate it with platinum or whatever just to get the
Carbon
cost,
fiber.
just
Carbon
cost
fiber.
up. Make it out of carbon fiber. Weave palladium into it. Put diamond dust or something on the, just to make it hideously expensive, but it would still be cheaper than
$300,000.
than the isokinetic machine they reinvented.
But it sounds like that one can only do about 4 exercises, though. I mean, how are you going to confuse your muscles into growing?
There is a good point. There is a good point. Muscle confusion goes out the window. Yep, couldn't possibly work.
Yep.
You're absolutely
That's
right.
that done. That's probably what happened in that. This is the exact same conversation they had at NASA.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. You're absolutely right. The guys are standing around going, not enough opportunity for graft. Can't do it.
Yeah. Done.
Can't do it. No graft here. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Think of something more complicated and less effective.
Have you seen Eat, Pray, Love?
Hmm?
Eat, Pray, Love,
No.
the movie with Julia Roberts, where she goes to India to become more enlightened.
Eat, pray, love. Eat, pray, love. Get a big paycheck. Did Julia get the big paycheck when she was in India, or
She got a huge one.
did she volunteer?
Well, I think she seemed to be doing okay in the movie. So, you don't need much money to survive over there.
No,
It's
it's
pretty cheap.
free to live.
Yeah, there's cows in the road. You can just get
Cows
free
in the
milk.
road?
Get free milk.
Free milk,
They're not eating the cows, so there's plenty of cows around. If you
cows around,
you take your butcher's knives and the
bread.
bag with you. Bread.
butter, ghee.
Yeah, ghee.
Ghee.
From those cows
From the
eating
cows?
all that delicious rubbish on the road.
How
much
No,
would-
I missed that movie.
How
Missed
much?
it.
How much would someone have to pay you to see that movie? It's 3 hours long. How much would someone have to pay you to watch that movie?
How much did it cost to develop the isokinetic machine for NASA?
Millions.
That's how much it would cost
I
me.
think we could run a
That's
crowd-
what it would
I
cost for
think
me
we
to
could-
watch Julia Roberts in India.
I think we should
No, I'm not.
run a crowdfunding campaign to get you to watch it. We'll actually record you watching it, and all just the commentary.
It will not be successful. It will not be a successful
I think a lot of
crowdfunding
editing would
campaign.
have to go to that one next.
Oh, God. All right, well, while we're still funny, we better stop talking, all right, or people are gonna get bored. Okay, so anyway,
If they're still watching it this time, it's going to be.
if they're still watching it this time, they have absolutely nothing else.
They're already writing their complaints via email.
Right. Comments on, be sure and enable the comments on
Absolutely,
that,
yeah.
on YouTube.
Email Mark Ripito directly if you haven't.
Right,
That's
just
the best podcast.
send it straight to me, okay? Send it to him, too. Send it, what's your email address? No, don't say it. People will.
Mark at starting straight.
Mark at solomons.com. Okay, well, thanks, Mick. Thanks for being here.
Pleasure.
And you poor stupid bastards. You actually watched this, didn't you? Well, watch again next time.
And let us know if you did the what is it, the clitoris experiment? The Coriolis experiment.
The clitoris experiment. The clitoris effect. We're gonna have an
something about
experiment.
swirling
The clitoris effect. Okay, it probably won't look like a circle.
Something about swirling motion. Turn it off, Nick.
Thanks. Turn it off. Stop it right now. The clitoris effect.
Oh, Jesus.